Hey, so today, October 4th, 2023, we have a press release from the acting commissioner of the SSA. And I want to share with you what it's about because it's about overpayments. And I know this causes great stress to people, whether they have an overpayment or not, because everyone's afraid of it. So I do appreciate they put this out. I will assume all the facts in it are reasonably accurate. In the beginning of it, they go through the history of Social Security Administration, blah, blah, blah. Okay. They point out some numbers that each year they pay 71 million people, $1.4 trillion worth of benefits. Okay, that's great. And they do say that payment accuracy rates are high. They give a number here that says only about 0.5%. So that's half of 1% of Social Security payments are overpayments. And they say, and that's Social Security payments, then she says that for the SSI program, overpayments also represent a small percentage of payments, about 8%. So as you can see, SSI overpayments, and this is it's very understandable why this is so. SSI overpayments are, I want to say, 16 times higher at 8% than Social Security benefits. Okay, remember SSI is the welfare program that's needs-based. So as income comes into you, you weren't owed the same amount that you had the month, that you were perhaps owed the month before, and you probably have an overpayment. That's why SSI can be replete with overpayments. And it's a very landmine-filled navigation to make sure that doesn't happen to you, or that if it does, because you're being a diligent, working part-time, trying your best, you know that there's going to be overpayments, and you just sit the money to the side because you know how to figure out exactly how much it'll be, or close enough. Okay, so Social Security, disability, and or potentially retirement, 0.5%, less than half. It is half of 1%. Whereas SSI, 8% of payments are overpayments. Okay, so with those numbers, and she calls them high accuracy rates. So that may be. I think it's a very difficult system. I don't think there's any fault per se with that. She says she's putting together a team to review their overpayment policies and procedures and to further improve how they serve their customers. So she's apparently designated a senior official to work out of the office of the commissioner to lead the team and report directly to me. I'm curious about how much this team is going to cost, or is it people that are already getting paid anyway? In which case it costs nothing. If they're already on salary. She goes on to say, or the press release goes on to say, there is misinformation in the media. So this is the part I appreciated, claiming that the Social Security Administration is attempting to collect $21 billion. I assume she means through overpayments. She said this figure was derived from the total amount of overpayments that have occurred over the history of the programs. 21 billion over the history, decades and decades and decades. So doesn't look like they're trying to collect 21 billion. She goes on to say each person's situation is unique and the agency handles overpayments on a case-by-case basis. I will attest to this because I have a few overpayment cases in my coiffers right now, which I don't generally practice that because it's purely a time donation. And it's not fun. She goes on to say, if a person doesn't agree that they've been overpaid or believes the amount is incorrect, they can appeal. If they believe they shouldn't have to pay the money back, they can request that the agency waive collection of the overpayment. Yes, there is waiver. And there is also, if you know you owe it, but you can't really afford to pay it, at least not all at once, you can ask for a payment plan. I'm just adding that in there. That's not part of the press release, at least not yet. Let's see. She goes on to say, they're trying to prevent overpayments, making it easier to navigate the recovery and waiver processes. I do have videos on waiver and such in my overpayment playlist. I will attach that at the end in case you need to do that. She says, for instance, the agency just released its streamlined waiver request form that is easier to understand and less burdensome for people to request a debt recovery waiver. And she says it's also developing a new electronic payroll data exchange program that will automatically use wage information to adjust payment amounts when appropriate to prevent overpayments. Now that's interesting. I suppose it could be a little frightening, but in some way, shape, or form, it looks like they're trying to use employer wage information, I guess, so they can catch, SSI folks who are working, being diligent little workers and supplementing their SSI, which you can do if you stay within the rules. But supplementing, it means your SSI has to go down a little bit, not as much as that you earn. So it's still lucrative for you to earn, but you have to stay within the rules. So it looks like they are trying to catch the fact that you're working and how much each month quicker, because a lot of SSI people know they have to report, and they do, but by the time the SSA gets to it, opens up their letters, and they write it, or you're calling in and some clerk is answering the phone and who knows where the information goes. This could be good because they might be able to, let's say, I can't imagine it's going to be in total real time, but maybe it's for September. Now they have September's wages for you. Now they know how much shouldn't have been paid for you in September, which part should have been withheld based on your September earnings. And they can then adjust your October payment maybe, or maybe it's your November, but even still, if it's within 2 months, that is so fast, you guys. I see people with 18 months worth of overpayment. Now they have thousands of dollars. Yeesh. So this could be good. She says that additionally, the agency intends to publish a proposed rule. Another proposed rule. We just reported on one from September 29th, which was really good for claimants when they're trying to prove their claim, because it reduces their window of prior relevant work. You should see that if you're fighting a case right now. It's just a proposed rule. It hasn't passed yet. But anyway, it looks like they're doing another proposed rule to streamline the processes and reduce the burden so eligible individuals can more easily seek debt relief. Okay, that debt relief would mean after you've been accused of an overpayment, I guess. She notes, or they note, the press release notes that when overpayments do happen, the agency is required by law to adjust the benefits or recover the debts. And of course, that makes sense, guys. It's not supposed to be sloppy and inefficient and giving money where it's not supposed to. So I hope we can all agree on that. But the law does allow Social Security to waive recovery in some cases, which must be balanced with the agency's stewardship responsibility to safeguard the integrity of the benefit programs and the trust funds. So the times that I see when they would waive, it's someone it would be a hardship to make them pay. And it's a hardship, not according to the person per se, because some people think if they can't, they think they should be paying their credit cards before they pay back the SSA, which no. So it has more to do with your basic survival needs, your basic rent, assuming you're not like living in a $3,000 mansion, blah, blah, blah. They do have waivers. And they also have reasonable payment plans for those that actually need them, not just want them. Okay. Anyway, they have an overpayment fact sheet attached to this. I will put the link to this press release down below. But again, if you want more about overpayments and what to do, because obviously this isn't going to help you if you already have an overpayment, although it could prevent you from getting another one, right? I particularly like that that automated thing they're thinking of doing, or they are planning to do. That's amazing. The whole team to review our overpayment policies. We'll see where that goes. Oftentimes I don't get too thrilled about teams and commissions and all this other things that usually cost money. It's other people's money, right? Okay, so that's that press release. Sounds like good news, particularly the part about the automated checking, I think. Sometimes we don't like people in our business, but that's not really our business because the employer reports it anyway. But apparently there might be some quicker way of getting it all so that you don't get an overpayment when you shouldn't and you don't get stuck with one. That will be awesome. Okay, that's it. Take care, guys. Bye.